When the best ATV cross-country riders in the world hit the beach in Florida, they had to deal with the shark in the waters. Chris Borich launched a late race charge, sunk his teeth into the track, and took another victory. Competition is lined up again today, and Borich is looking for another bite. Of the 2011 Can-Am Grand National Cross Country Series. Jason Wygant, your host, and the best ATV teams, riders, machines gathered here in the pits of Ionia Pass Motocross in Washington, Georgia, round 2, the Maxxis General GNCC. A completely different racetrack than what we saw last week in Florida. We've traded the sand whoops for some red Georgia clay, and that puts the pressure on these boys. Florida is tough physically, but mentally, even if you have a bad race there, you can say that's really not the type of conditions I have to worry about all year. Here, our morning race out on the track in Georgia, this is much more like the rest of the GNCC rounds are going to run like. So you've got to run well here, or your season is quickly going to go downhill. Once our morning race is complete, we'll cover our pros. For now, let's go to the pits with Krista Shaw.
Chris Bithell rounded out his 2010 season with a 4th place overall in the points standings. Chris, you had a pretty good race at River Ranch last weekend. What are your plans for the rest of the season?
You know, I was really hoping to podium there at River Ranch, and I came away with that 3rd and felt awesome. I'm hoping today to do the same thing, maybe kick it up a notch, shooting for the center of the box, but hey, anything can happen out there, but that's the plans for the rest of the season.
Chris Borich has definitely started out his season right with taking the win at River Ranch. Chris, do you think this could be an implication of you having another season dominating in the XC1 class?
I don't know. I guess time will tell. I mean, we're here in Georgia, and it looks like a beautiful day, great track, and hopefully we can keep the win streak going. I mean, I'm looking for another win and see what we can do out there.
If you turn that guy inside out, you'd probably see the heart, the desire, the soul, the ambition of a 2-time GNCC champion. But on the outside, that guy is as cool as it gets. We're clearing the starting line, ready to go racing here. Let's turn it over to our live announcer, Mr. Rodney Tomlin.
Second, in row number 1, the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling at our Maxxis General GNCC.
Nice job, Hot Rod. And nice job, Brian Cook. He is going to have his 2nd hole shot of the year on the KTM. So Cook will pick up the Motorsport hole shot, $250 from them. And the hole shot award here on Racer TV, of course, presented by Suzuki. And what an advantage Cook has. You see how tangled up these guys are? Well, we'll give you a first-hand look with our AMSOIL helmet cam. Look at how tangled the riders at the back of that front row pack are. And what's even worse, we have a whole slew of amateur riders down in the starting line area. Their roads haven't even started yet, so just imagine how thick with ATVs the woods are going to be once they get going. Speaking of getting going, unbelievable the starts this year for Cook, while some of the favorites we have seen are way back. So he has the opportunity to, no, didn't last long. Already one of the Warner Can-Ams into the lead. It's the number 4 of Bithell putting the hammer down. We see Brian Wolfe in the hunt. Wolfe, last year's champion in the XC2 division. That's row number 2 normally. This year, trying his hand racing against the big guns of the XC1 class on row 1. He ran up front at our opener in Florida before mechanical trouble set in and pushed him to the back of the top 10. But right now, you've got Chris Bithell leading the way, and this is what we're talking about, more traditional GNCC terrain. Through the lowlands, swamplands, lots of mud, tree roots, and of course fans and team members to point out the best way through. You see Cook and now Borich working their way inside the top 5. There's Adam McGill, the other Can-Am rider, Taylor Kaiser, and the rest of the field just trying to put themselves in position early on. Lots of lines in this racetrack. You can see the main line here through the center of the trees, but there are areas you can maneuver to make passes if you need to. Probably you won't see much of that until later in the game. I think right now everyone just content to follow. Right now you've got Bithell, Wolfe, Jared McClure, Boric, Cook, all in the top 10. Meanwhile, another bad start for Kaiser. We'll see if he can work his way forward. You do not want to let that lead pack get away on this racetrack. Chris Bithell, young man out of Irwin, Pennsylvania, leading the way across the tree roots, the rocks, the ruts of Georgia, with Brian Wolfe right in tow, Jared McClure, Chris Boric, and the rest of the GNCC Fast Pack not too far behind. But you've got to be careful of letting Bithell get too big of a lead on this track. He is always strong in Georgia. Now, he's had bad luck at times, hasn't always taken the race win. But it seems like something about this red Georgia clay and these deep ruts work well for him. Right now, though, it's Cook, the rookie in the pro class, keeping him honest. As we see Boric up in the number 3 spot, then McClure on the National Guard ride, and now Adam McGill on the other Warner Can-Am. Awesome to see Wolfe this far up front early on. And look at this, he is pressuring Bithell. We mentioned on our show last week, our series opener in Florida, Wolfe won 2 races overall from row 2 in his career. Did it the last 2 years at the snowshoe race in West Virginia. It's a totally different ballgame when you're starting out in front with these guys, and you never know how these riders will react to the pressure. So far, so good. Wolfe is right there. Take a look back just outside the top 5. There's Brian Cook, who grabbed our whole shot, and Taylor Kaiser beginning to make a charge toward the front of the pack. Look at how rough this Georgia track gets. It's rough in a completely different way than in Florida. It doesn't have the big sand whoops. It doesn't look as dramatic, the terrain, but these sharp bumps often are just as tough, if not tougher on your... Oh! And look at that, Adam McGill making a cut to the left, trying to make moves, trying to find new lines. Here we are onto the motocross track. That is our helmet cam. That is not a bike rider who has snuck onto the track. That's all good. We'll try to get some footage later. Yes, this track does weave its way around the Aonia Pass Motocross Complex here in Washington, Georgia, about an hour and a half from Atlanta. So the riders will have to get their double jumps on, as well as their abilities to negotiate the ruts down in the swampland. So really, you've got to be well-versed and well-rounded in your skills to run up front today. And if you notice, Chris Boric closing the gap and McGill going with him, I think we got 2 packs on a collision course right now. We got the 2 leaders, this man Bithell with Wolfe right behind, and then you've got Boric and McGill beginning to close in from 3rd and 4th. First lap already tells you a big story. These are the 4 that have broken away. If you're Taylor Kaiser, 2nd in the series last year, bad start this afternoon, you are going to have your work cut out for you. The amount of energy Kaiser and the rest of the riders are going to have to burn to try to catch this pack, well, that could make a big difference at the end of the day. Fans down here in Georgia see Bithell get down to the swamplands first. Not a tremendous amount of elevation change, at least not as much here in Washington, Georgia, as we will see later in the series. The next couple of rounds in North and South Carolina have a lot of ups and downs. Into the pit area for the first time. No need to stop. Fuel tank still relatively full and goggles fresh. Nothing but some encouragement from the crews. But right now the top 4, oh, it is getting close. In fact, look at this. Boric beginning to go to work on Wolfe. And Boric just taking facefuls of roost. He knows in these field sections there's plenty of room to make passes. And look at him put the pressure on Wolfe. Awesome side-by-side racing. Back into the woods we go. Bithell still leading. Wolfe not at all intimidated by the trademark Iron Cross front bumper and number 1 plate of Boric. Let's hop on board with our helmet cam. 8-time GNCC champ Barry Hawk giving us a ride and showing you what it's like to chase the fastest ATV riders in the woods, through the woods. Stay tuned. We're onto the motocross track again here at Aonia Pass. It's Can-Am Grand National Cross Country Racing, and the pressure is on Chris Bithell. Brian Wolfe, Chris Boric, Adam McGill, all right there pouring it on. Now the motocross track, they got to pack that dirt pretty hard because we have so many riders riding on it for so many laps in a cross-country race. So it's not disked up as deep as it would be on a traditional motocross day. The real action is going to take place here in the woods, and that is where Bithell continues to lead them around. He's got pit people telling him where to go, cheering him on. There's Wolfe. And there's Boric. And there's Adam McGill. McGill found a new line, and he is going to put his Can-Am up into third in front of Boric. Now, we saw McGill get a little aggressive with those new lines early, and he just put one to work there. I don't think Boric even realized McGill was that close. At the same time, though, Boric will play this cool. Wait a minute. Now we've lost McGill from the lead pack again. Looks like Boric has paid him back. I told you this guy would play it cool. Boric doesn't panic until the last probably 10 feet of the race. He never feels like he's out of it. Right now, he's being stymied by some lap traffic, and that's going to give Bithell some breathing room as we head into the pits for the first time today. Bithell is in on the far right. Here is McGill on the left. Boric is already in, and he might just get out with the lead. As the champ, he's pitted all the way at the end. There he is, grabs a handful. Bithell beats him out of the pits. Boric to second as we check out highlights of our morning race. Let's start with the highlights of our women's class. You have Angel Atwell, Kristen Atwell, Tracy Checo, Lexi Coulter, Shanna Bradshaw, Kara Merritt, Cheyenne Shadron, all in the hunt in this class. Go back to the line for the U2 division. Cliff Beasley has been the man to beat the last couple of years. Doesn't get the whole shot here, but watch him on the inside of turn one. He's going to nail a handful of throttle and really put the power down here in turn two. Beasley has been one tough customer. Open 4x4, yes, 700-pound ATVs can do wheelies, four-wheel drive or not. Look at this pack. Zach Sikowski, another hole shot. As we check with the women's class, Kristen Atwell leading Tracy Checo, pair of Yamahas out front. Here is Beasley in the U2 division. And an open 4x4, another great battle between Brian Buchanan, Sikowski, Michael Swift, Rick Checo, all in the hunt for that one. There goes Checo on his power bar back Can-Am. And this is what happens in the morning race. You're going to see a mix of the sport ATVs and the 4x4s. Also, don't forget the 50-plus class. Dave Simmons, also one of the fastest guns out here in the morning as well. They all tend to meet somewhere on the podium by the time the day is over. They're racing toward the podium right now, and it appears it's going to be Dave Simmons, your 50-plus champ, taking the overall win. Buchanan on the left wins open 4x4. Beasley on the right wins the U2 division, and they were also 1, 2, and 3 overall. That was this morning. Now we move back to the afternoon pro race. These are the fastest guns of all. And Chris Bithell, doesn't matter how much lap traffic, doesn't matter how much mud, how much pressure, is able to maintain the lead. However, we have lost Brian Wolfe from the group. It's now a three-rider fight. Bithell leading Boric, and McGill lurking somewhere back there. And every time we think McGill is out of contention, he finds another line somewhere else to make up time. And onto the motocross track again. It's not deja vu. The exact same situation. Chris Bithell under heavy pressure from Chris Boric. Well, it is a little different. This time we don't have Wolfe or McGill right there. There is McGill right there, but not right there. Not right on the rear wheels of Boric. So it might have boiled down to two riders, but I would not count the very crafty McGill out. We've seen some of the trick lines he has dialed in on this track, and he can utilize them to really mount a sneak attack. And there is so much strategy involved with these races. Chris Boric has been in second place headed to the last lap so many times over the last couple of years. As McGill shakes his head at our cameraman, he knows he needs to pick it up and get with these guys. Because if you're anywhere near Chris Boric in the last lap, well, that's not good enough, because he's able to put down a pace that no one else seems to be able to match. The Can-Am guys are going to try it today. Let's hop back on with Barry Hawk right behind McGill and also right behind Boric. Look at how fast these guys go, and look how creative they are with their line selection. Unbelievable. That is good stuff. Now lap traffic is everywhere. Boric having to pick a line to the extreme left. McGill going to the middle. Good that rider was able to pull over and avoid a collision. So I'll tell you what, you can tell we are getting down to the stretch run. They are picking up the pace. Here is Bithell. Here is a lap rider. Boric clears him. Boric almost bumps the rear wheels of Bithell. The white flag is on its way out, and that is where we're really going to start seeing the hustle. Can anyone hold off Chris Boric down the stretch? Bithell's got to cover the inside. So far, he's able to maintain the lead, but this is the area where Boric likes to strike, and he is really putting the pressure on. Stay with us. The last lap is Fighting through the forest of Georgia, Chris Bithell doing everything he can to hold on and take the victory today. Chris Borch, there he goes in second, and there's Adam McGill in third. Barry Hawk still trying to give us some helmet cam shots on the bike, through the pits, full bore now. No stopping, no strategy, it's just everything you got down the last couple of miles. Great racing out here. And Borch gonna try to make the pass. Borch has got a line figured out. Bithell to the inside and holds him back. Side by side. Oh, it's what makes these races so good. These riders save something for the last lap. But I think Borch, I don't know, he might be out of options. Onto the motocross track, side by side. Borch actually tried to scrub it along the outside. It'll put him on the inside the next corner. And the GNCC champion goes to the lead on the last lap again. Bithell not having it. Oh, he took a face full of roost. Now a hard left-hand turn, gonna lead them back into the woods. We have seen Borch strike like this so many times, and he's a closer. Very difficult to mount offense on him late in the game. Get the helmet cam view as Bithell works Borch over and tries to find a line around. That was our AMSOIL helmet cam. Now back to the race view. Borch, man, this course is so chewed up. These guys are wide open, but they can barely even get moving. So many ruts, so many bumps, so many holes, and you see Bithell really getting tossed around as he tries to maintain pace with Borch. But he's right there. This is about as close as we've seen anyone challenge Borch down the stretch in a while. Through the field, leading to the finish line area. You hear these bikes screaming all the way up at the rev limiter. Checkered flag, though, is coming out. I don't know if there are any lines left for Bithell to try to make a pass. Now, these two are really good friends off the track. They're both from Pennsylvania. They ride and train together. I don't expect to see anything dirty. Bithell's going to have to get a little bit closer. And we mentioned cool, calm, and collected. This is what makes Chris Borch so dangerous. He never panics. He never makes the big mistake. He's been through these wars so many times through the years, and that experience is going to pay off again. Another last lap Chris Borch victory. And Adam McGill rode well. He was creative, but he wasn't in the right place at the right time to make the break with the leaders. He will end up third. We're going down to victory lane to talk to our winners.
Adam McGill, you were definitely looking for redemption today after your little mishap in Florida. How did it go for you?
It went really well. I was happy with the finish we had. Of course, I like to be out there a little bit better. I was kind of stalking today, kind of playing it smart and hoping these guys would get together and, maybe one go into a tree or something. But, they race each other clean. I just kind of stayed back here, bid my time, and just rode smart today. That was the biggest thing, trying not to get stuck and try to get the bike to the finish. And, third is still a pretty good day for me. So I'm happy, and eventually we will be in the middle of the box.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
He's always good for a goof. Taylor Kaiser ends up fourth, coming through the pack. Jared McClure top 5. Let's go back down to the podium.
Chris Bithell, what a great race out there today. You weren't giving up that lead easy on the last lap.
No, I wasn't trying to. Chris was putting pressure on me, and we were just having a good old time out there, each taking different lines and just kind of all out racing. And he ended up getting me on a motocross track. I just went wide on one turn. He stuffed it in there, but I couldn't ask for a better race. It was so much fun.
And the point standings, Borch and Bithell, should we start calling them the Killer Bees? They're 1-2. And yes, that's a perfect score for Mr. Borch.
Chris Borch, you never fail to impress us on that last lap charge. How did it go for you today?
Went pretty good. We had a good start. Was right up front there, and missed one of the lines probably like the 4th mile in. Got me back probably to 8th or 10th. And it was just a hard day from there. I had to work my way up through. Finally caught the leaders was Bithell and Wolfe, and we battled out for a little bit. And it was just me and Bithell that pulled away, and had a good battle going there. I put a couple no's, got up beside him a little bit in some of the times, and got to the motocross track. I just pinned it, went out wide, and he dug to the inside and got around him there. So it was a good race. It was a lot of fun.
Well, it was a lot of fun to watch, too, so we're going to give you another look at it with our Can-Am race recap. Brian Cook grabs the early lead with the whole shot, but soon yields to Chris Bithell, and Bithell would lead this thing about 99.9% of the way. Pressure applied early by Brian Wolfe, another good run for the XC1 Pro Class rookie. You also had Jared McClure up there. It's a good start for Don Ackerman. Chris Borich and Adam McGill would eventually make their presence known at the front as well. For the most part, we're looking at a three-rider shootout with McGill in third, Borich second, and then Borich went to the lead. On the last lap, he put the pressure on, went around the outside of Bittle to take the number one spot, and had just enough of a gap to be able to bring it home for his second win in as many races this year. Could it be a perfect season? Got a long way to go. For Krista Shaw, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching Racer TV.